Well, good morning. Thank you for being here to join with us in celebrating this grand opening of our Lancaster storefront. My name is Billy Cordell, and I'm a major over the North Command in the Fort Worth Police Department and been one of the project managers over this project, and I appreciate you taking time out of your schedules to be here. Before I get started in my comments, there are several dignitaries here I'd like to recognize. Up here on the stage, they'll be speaking in a little while, is Mayor Betsy Price, Councilmember Kathleen Hicks, Chief of Police Jeff Halstead. I want to recognize one person, the former mayor, Mike Moncrief. Where is he? Thank you. Mike's going to talk a little bit about the vision that he had. Sitting beside him, Mayor Pro Tem Zim Zimmerman. Thank you for being here. I did not see any other council members. I apologize if I missed anyone. Our city manager, Tom Higgins, standing over here. Assistant City Manager Charles Daniels. Assistant City Manager Fernando Costa. Assistant City Manager Susan Alanis. I'm not sure if I saw her come in. Some from within our police department, Deputy Chief Danny Garcia over our patrol. Deputy Chief Rhonda Robertson over our finance and personnel. Deputy Chief Abdul Pridgen over our support bureau. Major Gene Jones, South Command. Major Paul Henderson, Chief of Staff. We also have a number of our captains and other officers that work in this area. Thank all of you for being here. I'd like to take a moment to recognize some others from other agencies that we work so closely with. I think Doug Hooten and Matt Zavadsky are here from MedStar. The T, Dick Riddell, Nancy Amos, Sylvia Hartless are here representing the T. And then certainly a very important function out in this area are the shelter directors that we liaison with so closely. I saw Toby Owen here a little earlier from Presbyterian Night Shelter. Thank you for being here, Toby. I see Becky Walk over here from the Salvation Army. Don Schischler from Union Gospel Mission. Bruce Frankel, are you here from Day Resource Center? I have not seen Bruce. Greg Davis is the president of the Neat Eastside Neighborhood Association. And then I have not seen Flora Brewer, but she is somebody that I worked with very closely, very early on in this process to make this storefront a reality. So join with me in recognizing all of these people that are here today. Thank you. I'd like to give just a little bit of history on this. I know the speakers are going to talk a little bit about it as well, but in 2008, we opened the Central Patrol Division in the downtown area. We certainly looked at this area as a viable option for a patrol division, but in the end, we selected a facility downtown. At that point, we began talking about a storefront out in this area, and we knew that we needed to have a strong presence out in this area and try to connect in a very different way. As I was reviewing my notes for today's talk about this facility, I noticed that the first email I sent in my book was dated September 2007. An awful lot has happened since that time, and there's a lot of you out there smiling, and you understand the obstacles and hurdles that we've had to go through to make this day a reality. But since then, there's a lot of change. We have changed mayors, we've changed city managers, we changed assistant city managers, we have a new police chief, Central Division captain has changed, Presbyterian Night Shelter director has changed, and Bruce Frankel left his job at the Day Resource Center to travel all the way to California and since has moved back and taken over that role again. So we've had a lot of change and a lot of obstacles. I guess the important thing is that it took a lot of stamina from the staff that we're going to recognize shortly, and certainly a lot of patience from this community to make this day a reality, and we appreciate that very much. Well, I'm excited about everything and this opportunity presents for us as it represents a change in philosophy for the Fort Worth Police Department. Up until this point, we've primarily focused on enforcement, and that's going to change with the opening of this place because I envision significant change to connect in very different ways within this community through resources and service providers. This facility would not have happened, as I said earlier. It took great vision from then Mayor Mike Moncrief and the council to make this day a reality. I recall in one of my meetings with Mayor and the council, Mayor Moncrief saying, "Billy, we need a larger presence than a standard storefront in this area. We need to provide a bigger presence." And I'm excited today to think that we have accomplished that goal, and I look forward to the things that are going to happen as a result of this facility. At this time, I want to take just a moment and recognize the 4 officers that will work directly out of this facility. First, most of you know that the neighborhood police officer for this area is Officer Jeremy Stevens. Jeremy, stand up. There he is. The Directions Home Community Liaison is Officer Julie Cox. Thank you, Julie. We reorganized in our department and wanted to provide a higher visible presence out in this area, so we've got two officers with us today, Victor Hernandez and Joshua Miller, if y'all will stand up. They will work out in this area to provide a uniformed presence. They just completed the bike training school last week, so you should see them out here riding bikes. And don't be surprised, guys, if the mayor calls up and says, I want to come out and patrol with you one of these days. Thank all of you for the great things that you're going to accomplish at this facility. We're in a learning stage and looking at how we're going to service this area better, talking with our service providers and all the resources that are going to be eventually coming through this facility in order for us to provide the high level of service that our citizens and those in this community expect and deserve. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce the Mayor of Fort Worth, Mayor Betsy Price.
Thank you, Billy. It's great to see everybody out here this morning. This is a great thing. Mike, it was a great vision that all of y'all had. It's great to see it implemented. These kind of projects are what Fort Worth does best. It's what we're all about, connecting with the community. You've heard me say, Mike used to say it's the Fort Worth way, and I say most of the time it's your Fort Worth. And you guys are making a huge difference in what Fort Worth does, and we really appreciate that. Public service obviously is a major importance to all of us. We have the best police staff in the world, no doubt, and all our public safety officers, and we're very proud of this vision from the city and what they've done. It's the foundation for the city. If we can't have our citizens feel safe and we can't have our guests feel safe, our tourists who are here, then we've not succeeded, and I believe we are succeeding well beyond anybody's expectations. This has been a long time coming, as Billy mentioned, and it's great to see it finalized. Central Patrol looked carefully for a spot that could connect with the community, and that's what this is all about, getting out and getting involved with the community, in among the homeless population, in among our neighborhoods, reaching out and making them feel that they know the officers on the street, that they know who they can connect with. And this facility does that. It's a great location. Thanks to Major Cardell, to Chief Halstead, Ms. Hicks, Kathleen Hicks, all had a big part of this, and all of the officers and the support staff. Julie Cox has her Homeless Children's Initiative. You need to be certain that you see the art projects she has inside. They are phenomenal, what they're working with those kids and what they're producing. And they're actually going to have a storefront at Main Street, which will be great. That's a great initiative. It's a result of the continuing commitment to safe neighborhoods. The unique thing about this facility is it contains not only our PD force and their presence in the neighborhood, but a homeless coordinator, hopefully from Otis's staff. And it'll be a blend of vehicular and bike patrols. The easiest and the most efficient way to reach our neighborhoods is to get those blended together and to reach those in need. And eventually it will have a space for community meetings, and I believe you'll see people coming out and working and joining in these neighborhoods. It's just another reason that Fort Worth is one of the most livable cities, an all-American city, and the safest city of its size in the nation. We thank you all for working so hard to make this successful, and I'm delighted to be here with you today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor. The next person I'm going to introduce is Councilmember Kathleen Hicks, and I will tell you that her tenacity and never ending making sure that city staff was accountable and responsible to make this day happen, it would not have happened without her vision, her leadership. Thank you very much, Kathleen Hicks.
In other words, driving council, all of them crazy, Major Cordell wants to say. I'm reminded of U.S. Senator Barbara Boxer, who said law enforcement officers are never, quote, off duty. They are dedicated public servants who are sworn to protect public safety at any time and place that the peace is threatened. They all need the help that they can get. And today is an awesome, awesome day because we dedicate a wonderful building here in Council District 8. And Fernando Costa made fun of me when we walked in today, and I have to give him a hard time because he said, "Are we in District 8? Shame on you, Fernando, because, hey, we are in District 8, and I am so very proud of this beautiful building. If you haven't been inside, it looks so great. A month or so ago, I walked through with Major Cordell, and we were so very excited. Originally, this was going to be just the little gas station across the street. And I begged and pleaded and drove a lot of people crazy to make this a lot larger than it was going to be. And there are so many other different facilities and different things that are going to be here in this building, and we're very, very excited. And just briefly, I just want to thank some of the people that have made this a reality. This is not about me. This is about my friend Chief Halstead, who is a wonderful individual and who cares so much about this community. We have made so many great changes in Southeast Fort Worth, and I want to thank him. When I think about the economic development, the positive economic development we're seeing in Southeast Fort Worth, I'm very grateful to him. I want to thank Major Cordell. When he came over to the hood, I said, "Are you ready for this? Do you know what you're getting into?" And he said, "Yes, ma'am." He's done a great job, and I thank him. I thank my friend, Assistant City Manager Charles Daniels. I kept begging him for more money. He said, "Kathleen, I'm not going to return your calls anymore," but he did it. Thank you very much. Jay Chop is another one that's sick of me, but begged him for more money, and we got there. Thank you so much, Jay. He even took off his GQ glasses. Thank you so very much. And most especially, I thank my council colleagues for their unwavering support. This is so much bigger than Council District 8. This is about this community. The homeless area has had so many different issues, and if you drove, obviously many of you drove down this area and you saw the streetscape and the new what's happening down East Lancaster. That is a part of the work that Fernando and his team has worked on, the new urban village. And I think, Fernando, that's over $500,000 that's coming in, new lighting that the T has worked on and others, and we're very excited. That's another piece of the puzzle that's going to look very, very, very nice. So we are continuing to do some wonderful things, and I thank my fellow residents of Council District 8 for the continued work that they do. Also, I thank former Mayor Mike Moncrief for his unwavering support, and our mayor, Mayor Betsy Price, my friend, for the continuing work that she does. Onward and up for the city of Fort Worth. Thank you so very much.
Thank you for your kind words, Ms. Hicks. All right, it's time to introduce my chief of police, your chief of police, Jeff Halstead.
Thank you, Major Cordell, and I just wanted to echo some of the comments he made about the historical perspective and how long collectively people work together to see this as a realization. June 25th of 2008, not a big day in any of our milestones of what we look back in life, but that was the day that this job was actually advertised. And I remember looking up Fort Worth and looking at some of the things they wanted to accomplish. And when I saw this 10-year plan to eliminate homelessness, it was amazing. The vision, and I really give compliments to Mayor Moncrief, to the sitting council at that time, and to those city leaders that made a definitive step in the right direction, an aggressive position they took. But what should be echoed from that is a statement that Mayor Price made almost 2 months ago when we were almost froze to death as we stood out here in the park with Officer Julie Cox. She made the statement that Fort Worth cares about all. We stood there surrounded by many of our friends within this community, and I think Julie knew the name of everyone that was in attendance, and it echoed back to June of 2008 when a city made such an investment and such a definitive statement that they care about all. What gives me the most pride in having this position is the fact that we have 2,000 plus employees that work every day, every hour, and their sole mission is to serve with respect, and they're dedicated to protect. And when you see a facility like this, it doesn't have to be restated. And when you see professionals like this, our officers that work here every day, it is really an absolute honor to stand here and say you're the chief of police of these fine leaders. When we were struggling through Super Bowl and we were dealing with some of that challenging weather that we were faced, I received two very, very important emails during Super Bowl, and it had nothing to do with the sporting venue. It had to do with a citizen that was passing by East Lancaster and saw at midnight, about 12:30 in the morning, I think it was 19 degrees, and they were complimenting an unknown police officer for getting a blanket out of their patrol car and making sure that a homeless person was warm for the night. It was also another email where they were doing a check of an abandoned building here, and an officer took off their own gloves. And then we heard that echoed later on that another officer in another part of the city did the same exact thing. That's amazing service that they deliver with respect. What a great facility we have here. What a new trend we are setting for an amazing city. And I just want to remind all residents of this city that your city serves all. And it's an absolute pleasure to be part of this team. And Major Cordell, this is your second major facility that you've seen from the groundbreaking to completion. And I want to give a sincere appreciation to Councilmember Kathleen Hicks. She never, ever lost sight of this vision. She never, ever took for granted that it would just get done. She stayed on top of this project, and she coordinated multiple staff members. And thanks to her, and thanks to Major Cordell, and to our officers who are fine leaders in our city, we get to celebrate this grand opening. And that's a good day for our city. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chief Halstead. You know, it takes an army of people to make this building go from a vision to a reality, and it's my pleasure at this time to thank a number of them, and if you will, hold your applause until we get through everyone on it. But before I do that, I want to share just a quick story with you. Not long ago, the building was nearing completion, and I was inside walking around and looking, and as I exited the building toward my car, I was wearing my suit and tie that I customarily wear, and a gentleman called out my name. I'll refer to him as Charlie, and he said, "Sir." I stopped and looked around, and he said, "Are you the city manager?" And I smiled, extended my hand, and said, "Yes, I am." Now, I told him who I was, and as soon as I said I'm with the police department and overseeing this project, he extended his hand out to me. Charlie stuck his hand out and said, "I want to thank you." It caught me by surprise, and I said, "You want to thank me for what?" And he said, "I want to thank you for having this facility here and the presence it brings here, because there are a lot of people out here that live in this community that are just trying to make it day to day and survive. And there are those that are out here that harass us, that sell drugs, and that really is a burden on us." He said, "So thank you for building this facility." So as I go through this list of those that we need to thank today, I want you to not look at it from my perspective of just thanking you for building this beautiful facility, but look at it through the eyes of Charlie, who out here lives in this community every day and so wants this service to be here. A lot of people involved in this. We've heard from Mayor Price and Kathleen Hicks, certainly Mayor Moncrief. Thank you for being here today, and thank you for everything you did to support this facility. Our city manager, Tom Higgins, Charles Daniels, Susan Alanis, Fernando Costa, Otis Thornton, our homeless coordinator. Thank you, Otis, for the role that you play in this area and how this facility will be benefited through your efforts. Certainly our Chief of Police, Jeff Halstead, my Deputy Chief, Danny Garcia, Rhonda Robertson, Abdul Pridgeon, the majors that we mentioned earlier. Captain Danny Humphreys is the captain over our Central Patrol Division. Unfortunately, he had a previous commitment and he's out of town today, but a lot of this work came in through him, and the vision of how we're going to provide the services in this area attributed to him. Gilbert Banda, Mike Lang, Rock Malone, and Corey Autry. with our Intel group, had a lot of work involved in here. The folks I introduced earlier, Jeremy Stevens, Julie Cox, Shala Graham, nothing happens without a budget, and her staff navigated through those waters to make sure that we had plenty of money to build this beautiful facility. Stacy Bishop, Christy Rodriguez, Sasha Kane, thank all of you. Nothing happens without a great IT group, and I'll tell you, in my projects, I've gotten to work several times with this crew, and I can't say enough good things about them. Led by Nanette Monty, we've got Dale Stewart, Mark Ferguson, Jeff Kersey, Hugo Carbaugh, Brian Patterson, and Gary Smith, all over here. Thank you very much for everything that you did to make this a reality. TPW, can't do it without the ones that are putting the mortar together for us. Doug Wurzig, Dalton Murayama. We were teasing with Dalton yesterday. I was in conversation. I think him and Miss Hicks and myself are the only people that are still here with the city when this building started and part of this vision. Glenn Baylog, Don Powell is retired now, but thank you, Don, for being here. Ronnie Clements, Bill Mattachet, is project manager, is retired also, but he is back today with us. Alan Baggermy. Housing Economic Development had a lot of work up front. Jay Chapa, Cynthia Garcia, Laura Chavez, Sherry Johnson, Avis Casson, Leticia Rodriguez, Marilyn Jackson, Dolores Garza. Thank all of you for all of your work. Environmental Management, I didn't see him, but Michael Gagne had a big role in this early on. Our Legal Department, Leanne Guzman, Jessica Sangsvang. Art Wyman, I don't know if he's here yet, or haven't seen Art, but Arthur Wyman Architectural designed a beautiful facility for us. Scott Dennett Construction was the construction crew over this. So Scott, Sean Moore, Randy Davison was the day-to-day project manager that I drove absolutely nuts as we were navigating through the construction end of this. Recognize Bob Gallant with Eastside Marble. The beautiful marble that you see inside this facility came from right next door in Eastside Marble. Bob, thank you for being here. The T, great partners of ours, Dick Riddell, Nancy Amos, Richard Maxwell, Sylvia Hartless, Kevin Hunt. And then Sentinel, Matt Bryant, and Chuck Gardner. As you can see, it takes an army of people to make all of these things happen. And then also I want to give a huge thank you to my Central Division staff, led by Captain Humphreys, Lieutenant Dagg, Sergeant Terry Porter, and all of our NPOs, Phyllis Perez. So many people rolled up their sleeves to make this day a reality. Please help me in recognizing all of the people today. Thank you. All right, we're going to move around and have a ribbon cutting up front, followed by you'll be able to go in and tour the facility. Take your time. There'll be officers in there to answer questions as to how we plan to operate. There are refreshments over here to the right, but if we will gather back in front just for a quick ribbon cutting and photo op, then we can open the facility and tour it. Thank you all for being here.